All right. So I'm going to get the PowerPoint up. All right, can everybody see that? See the PowerPoint? Okay. Fabulous. All right. So welcome to the Find Your Voice Summer Reading Showcase. If you're here, my name is Jamie Thill, and I'm the Early Literacy and Children's Coordinator for the Alaska State Library. And I wanted to share that the Alaska State Library is part of the Department of Education and Early Development. So this slide just shares a table of the mission, vision, and purpose. And the mission I wanted to share specifically is to provide an excellent education for every student every day. And this slide shows our strategic priorities. So I wanted to share the first priority, which is to support all students to read at grade level by the end of 3rd grade. And one of my responsibilities is to oversee the statewide summer reading program. And so I think that this program, along with the other early literacy efforts made by Alaska State librarians, is serving that first priority to help students read at grade level by the end of 3rd grade. One quick reminder that this program was supported by grant funds from the Institute of Museum and Library Services under the provisions of the Federal Library Services and Technology Act, as administered by the Alaska State Library. So we have a great webinar scheduled for you today with some fabulous presenters who are going to talk about the fun summer reading activities they're planning for their programs this year. Our presenters today are Cinda Nofziger from Homer Public Library, Sara Saxton, the Youth Services Librarian at Wasilla Public Library, Kelsey Skrobis at Anchorage Public Library, MJ Grande from the Juneau Public Library, and Geri Denkewalter at Talkeetna Public Library. So each one of these presenters is going to talk about a different aspect of planning the summer reading program, and so the ways that they go about doing that. So we hope that you can leave today with some ideas for planning your program, and hopefully you can inspire the people in your community to want to take part in summer reading. So before we hear from our presenters, I just want to quickly remind everyone about summer reading loss, and just share some information about the statewide summer reading program and why your library might want to offer a summer reading program. So I first wanted to just remind everyone that summer reading loss happens when students lose some of their achievement gains that they made during the previous school year. And that happens during the summer months. So here's just some quick stats, some quick statistics. In 2022, Alaska's 4th grade reading levels were more than 75% below proficiency. And then in 2022, Alaska's average reading score was lower than those in 46 states. So if you can't see the slides show a graphic of a bridge, and it reads, "Build a bridge." And I think that this is definitely something that libraries can help with. We can help build that bridge during the summer months to help students carry some of those skills into those summer months and into that next school year. So I think it's really important for all of us to feel like we're a team. So yay, go team. That team can support each other and support the literacy efforts for the children in our communities. Alaska libraries can help provide, they can help by providing that summer reading programming. So hopefully if you're not already offering a summer reading program, you'll consider doing that. You can help foster a lifelong love for reading and help children keep up with those educational skills during the summer. So really quickly, I want to tell you about the ways the Alaska State Library can help with your summer reading program. We write an annual grant to fund the statewide summer reading program. And this allows us to offer public libraries materials from the iRead's reading program. iRead materials would include a code to download a resource guide. That guide would have activities, graphics, crafts, reading lists, lots of promotional materials. So the PowerPoint slides show the types of graphics you would have access to. These are images and promotional materials that are focused on that Find Your Voice theme. And there's a different theme every year. And then, oh, one more thing I forgot to talk about, sorry. Each fall, libraries can find that registration link to sign up for the summer reading program. I'm having a lot of people ask me about how can I register, or is it too late to register? So make sure this past year we had a chance to give purchase codes that libraries could use to buy items from iRead for prizes. So if you're interested in receiving a resource guide or the purchase codes for 2024, please look out for the form on the Alaska State Library's website. That'll happen in the fall. You can also subscribe to the Early Literacy and Children's Services newsletter to get important updates about the summer reading program. So this slide has the web address where you can subscribe, and that's at lam.alaska.gov/early lit newsletter. I'm trying to condense everything and we're trying to really create a lot of different communication tools for us to be able to reach each other. So important deadlines will be posted there. And then another great resource that the Alaska State Library offers right now is access to Beanstack, and that's for running your reading challenges online reading challenges. And the Alaska State Library was able to secure a 2-year license in 2021, where libraries were able to register to gain access to that statewide online reading program. So we manage the overall subscription, and each library gets to sign up, or was able to sign up, and they are an administrator for their libraries. So the state library, along with the assistance of Amelia, shout out to Amelia at Juneau Public Libraries, helped create reading challenges this year for early literacy, children, teens, and adults. So if your library is signed up for Beanstack, if you signed up in 2021, then you'll have access to those reading challenges. That will begin May 15th and go through to July 31st. I'll release those a little bit earlier in April. Finally, if you're new to the summer reading program, we're going to offer trainings every year, such as today's webinar. So if you have any suggestions for webinars that you want to see soon or next year or anytime, I encourage you to let me know. I also encourage you to list any questions that come up for today's webinar in the Q&A. And that is everything from the State Library for right now. So I'm going to take we're going to take some time to hear from Geri from the Talkeetna Public Library.
Okay, so I had great visions of you seeing our gorgeous amphitheater in the back, but I don't know whether you can see it, but there it is. It's, yeah, you can't see anything except some shadows. But we moved into this library about, it's going to be 8 years ago in June. And if you look kind of behind me, it's all treed. It's a really nice piece of property. And we have already outgrown the multi-purpose room. So our summer reading program takes place outside almost all the time. And the first year that we did this, the first year we did our lunch on the lawn, we call it, we collaborated with the local food pantry and our Sunshine Transit that provided transportation for the kids, This was available to anybody who wanted to come under, and they got fed if they were under 18. It was, the pre-packaged federal program, lunches. It was, a well-balanced meal. It had fruit and a protein, starch, a snack, a little treat, milk. It was really a nice little program. And I've worked in the school system and pretty much doing everything, including shoveling the roofs, if you can believe that. But what I noticed when I worked in the lunchroom was that the kids kind of got the same meals in these little plastic wraps. And within 3 minutes, they were done with lunch, shoving everything back into this little bag and running out the door to go out and play. And so I'm not sure how much food they actually were getting in their stomachs. So I don't want to say that I was not enthusiastic about kids actually getting food. I'm going to turn around and I don't know if you can actually see it, but there's a big hill behind us. So the amphitheater was built about 2 years later, but the kids would be spread out across this whole hill, all the way down to the edge of the property where it kind of drops off. And they would be eating and then running around, rolling down the hill, chasing their kids down the little literary trail. And they ate all their food. So it wasn't that they weren't eating their food at the schools because they didn't like it, or that they weren't hungry, but they wanted to get out and play. So this amphitheater has, I think, 4 or 5 rows of seating, just boards. And then of course there's the grass that the kids would sit on. The parents would come and they'd put down their blankets and they'd bring their own lunches and they'd sit out here and talk with the other parents. And it was pretty amazing. I didn't think that it was actually going to be as popular as it was. So about the first year, the food pantry provided these federal program distributed foods. And they also had another program that they had a grant for, and which meant that the kids also got a plastic bag, one of those little groceries bags, we started with these nice little backpacks. Everyone was supposed to bring them back and we'd fill them up the next week. Well, that didn't work at all. But everybody got new backpacks. So we wound up using the little grocery sacks, the plastic grocery sacks. And in those sacks, there was a breakfast and a lunch and, some snacks for the children. We have a lot of parents, especially in the summertime, that the kids are left at home to sort of figure out what they're going to eat because the parents are working and we don't really have much childcare either. So the 10-year-old is in charge of the 6-year-old who's in charge of the 3-year-old. And our food pantry was very concerned that these children were not really getting any food. They'd stick, I don't want to, yeah, I do it too, but they don't just stick a burrito in the microwave. So for morning, they got cereal or oatmeal, breakfast snack bars. They got enough milk for an entire week. The lunches were really, shelf ready. You could take the macaroni and cheese or the ravioli and put it in the microwave. There was peanut butter and crackers and cheese sticks and sausage sticks and always fruit. There was always some fresh fruit. We live in Talkeetna, which is, 2.5 hours from, well, actually only an hour now from the grocery store. So fresh fruit was a big item. And when I asked the kids, do you eat all this food? Because I thought, no, my kids were not all that picky, but they wouldn't eat some of it. And they said, well, if I don't eat it, I trade it for something else that my brother has. And so these bags were completely being devoured throughout the week. And the numbers of kids that came, whether or not they were actually taking a meal or not, at lunchtime, it increased as the summer went on. And it was really gratifying to see this, that here were these kids not only eating a substantial amount more food than they were certainly at the grade school, but they were having good times with each other. And the parents were actually taking part in it also. So the second year, that we were doing this. The food pantry again got another grant, and they provided enough that we actually had backpacks at that time. So that was really nice. The kids liked that. But it not only continued what they were doing, but it increased. The food pantry director bought large sacks of fruit, and the kids would get a big bag of fruit. Each kid would get fruit to take home. And again, the numbers increased more and more and more. Then we had COVID. And the first year, the food pantry people, the staff, were sitting outside under a little covered area, and they were handing out the backpacks, and we were handing out, grab and go bags with STEAM activities and little crafts for, the younger kids. And that went better than we thought it would. It was something being done. The next year they moved into the front foyer, and they had the bags out and everything. And that was really good. Worked out real well. And then last year, maybe the year before, they kind of went back to full service. The kids come in through the front door, they come into the multi-purpose room, gather their lunches for the day, walk out the back door, and hang out here in the back of the library for about 45 minutes between programs. So it really, it's a lot of work. We don't do anything as a library staff other than basically provide the space. But it got to be so big that instead of having lunch on the lawn and then the summer reading program, we started doing a summer story time for younger kids, because they were coming and they really, they had a good time. Some of them hung around for the summer reading program, but it really wasn't too much aimed at 3-year-olds. And the 3-year-olds want a snack, a story, and a craft. And I don't know about at your libraries, but that's what happens here. They like the routine of coming every Thursday and same time. So that worked out really well. The numbers again increased. And I think it was mostly because the kids hung out. So, and then they would stay for the summer reading program afterwards. Sometimes it was snakes, sometimes it was rocks, sometimes it was birds, sometimes it was the fire department. But the younger kids started staying for the activities afterwards. They were there for the summer reading program and also story time. So, I feel really good about this. If I know that some of the other Mat-Su libraries also do this, and they work with their food pantries, and they have a summer feeding program for these kids. And I don't have any demographics or anything. There was no restriction on who could come to lunch on the lawn. And all they needed to do was just sign their names and how many bags they took for the second part of it also. So if you can start something like this at your library, I think it really benefits the kids. The kids weren't hungry, that's for sure. So I think that's kind of all I have. We're looking forward to it again next summer. And I wish I could show you my beautiful library, but I'm sort of just back here in the backyard, and I can't get through the room because, all of our programs have increased substantially because of, I think that the food pantry has really kind of stepped up. They also provide food for kids during spring break and Christmas break. And I just think that it's a really good program. So does anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, I'm going to hand you off to Cinda from Homer. I'm going to sneak back through. I'm going to mute myself and sneak back through the 3-year-old singing in the multi-purpose room and then join you back in the office. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Geri. Jamie, if you want to go ahead and start my slides, that would be awesome. Thank you. So I am the pretty new youth services librarian at the Homer Public Library in Homer. This will be my second summer running the summer reading program. And I wanted to start, I wanted to follow Geri by just sort of talking a little bit about how it is to be new at planning and running a summer reading program. I have heard that maybe there are some new folks out there who, for you, this might be your first time running a summer reading program. So you're going to get a lot of other good ideas from other people about what kinds of programs to do and ways to engage your youth. But I wanted to sort of talk a little bit about some of the things that I learned for myself by running my first summer reading program last year. Jamie, if you want to switch that slide to the next one. Thanks. So like I said, last summer was my first time at HPL, and there were some unique factors, as you all know. It was post-pandemic kind of, more in-person stuff, but we still sort of tried to do things with an awareness of the continuing pandemic. The Homer Public Library is a really strong library. The community tends to really love the library, and I replaced Claudia Haynes, who had been here for many, many years and was very, very, very well loved. And so it was a little intimidating to come in and try and come up with a program following her. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, the population of Homer is about 5,000, but the service area is about 12,000. So the town itself is relatively contained, but there are a lot of people who live in the surrounding area that we also serve in the summer and throughout the year. So just a few stats here. This graphic shows you some of the stats that from last summer. We ran about 70 programs with about 1,000 participants throughout the summer. Okay, let's see. What else I was going to say? Oh, okay. So what I loved about last summer were that we had such a great theme. We have been participating in the library's iRead, or the state library's iRead program. So the theme last year was Read Beyond the Beaten Path, which was really great for doing things outside. And that sort of worked really well with a need to be aware of people being somewhat concerned about being inside all the time because of health reasons. So we did a lot of programming outside, I think more than had happened in the past. And that theme also made it really easy to collaborate with a lot of different organizations in town, other nonprofits who also do things outside, who are interested in the Bay and just the sort of locale of Homer. I have a great staff to work with here, and our Friends of the Library is also really active, and they provide a lot of financial support for the summer reading program. They do direct fundraising for the summer reading program, but they also do grant writing for us. So we have some money from the Homer Foundation, which is a local philanthropic nonprofit. So there were lots of things, and then also from the state library, we had iRead, we had Beanstack. So there were lots of things about putting together the summer reading program that I didn't have to think about, which was wonderful. So if you haven't already jumped on the Jamie's bandwagon to get the summer reading program stuff from the state library, I really encourage you to do that. It's really helpful. Okay, so Jamie, if you want to move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Just a little bit about what worked and what didn't. I had all those 70 programs, and it was a lot. A lot of them were collaborative, which was wonderful, and I highly recommend that. But so some of the things that worked well last summer were doing stuff outside. It was fun to be outside. I liked being outside. And as long as the weather was good, we had good attendance for outside programs. We did and the weather even wasn't this great. We did a s'mores at the beach where we had a little fire when we made s'mores and told stories, and it was a family story time. And I had maybe 25 participants who were older. Like it was 4th, 5th, 6th graders who came, which was, and their parents, which was super fun because you usually when you have story time, it's the littles, which is also fun, but this was sort of an older crowd, and they really enjoyed the s'mores. They liked being outside. They liked having stories that were sort of geared toward their age group. That was a fun program. I also worked with a lot of other organizations in town. The Center for Alaska Coastal Studies was a primary partner. They brought their kids, they run a day camp, and they brought their kids to the library once a week, and we did outdoor programming with them. That was fantastic. Other organizations around town. So I think that really worked well. And I did some team programming that some of it worked better than others, which is maybe not surprising. But I will say just about the collaboration before I move on, that you don't have to do everything. You don't have to be the expert. So finding other people in town in your town, in your location, who can help you do things, who can connect with you, I think is really useful. So like I said, some of the team things that I did worked really well. Some of them didn't. And so I just want to take a second to talk about teen programming. And I think there's a lot of concern sometimes about this population, that we are reaching them. And I, of course, want to give them good opportunities for to give them what they want and what they need from the library. And I think one of the best ways to engage teens is to ask them what they want. So one of the first things that I did when I came to this job was set up an advisory board, and it's small. It sort of grows, it fluctuates who comes and who doesn't, but we have around 5-6 people who regularly meet with me each month, and we talk about programming. We design programming for the upcoming month, and then we design programming for summer reading for the teens. And the things that they told me they wanted to do last summer were the things that were the most successful, the ones that I sort of planned myself and thought, oh, this is a really good idea, sounds really cool to me, had less impact and less participation. So I think that talking to them, talking to your teens about what they want out of the library is a good place to start. And I'm happy to talk about, I know that there are lots of other people here who probably have run advisory boards, but if someone is thinking about setting one up, I'm happy to talk about some of the things that I did to do that. And I think that the other thing about teen programming in the summer and other times is to try and have a variety of things, because not everything is going to be of interest to everybody. So different types of activities, again, sort of guided by what they think is cool. But if you have a group of kids who really only want to do gaming, you might need to think about other things, because your advisors might not be getting, you might need to think about bringing different people in for advice, because they might not be thinking across the board. But even things like letting them volunteer is either with your summer reading program. I have a student, a sophomore, who works with my Lego club, and she and I work together to run the Lego club. So she has it's a different way of engaging with the library besides just events or programming. So sort of thinking about opportunities for that kind of thing. The other thing that I just want to say about teen programming from my experience, and granted, I know it's not terribly long, but I think that building relationships with teenagers takes time. It's a different kind of relationship than you can build with a preschooler or a elementary school kid. That building relationships with teenagers takes time. And so holding space open, I think, for them to let them get to know you and to let them get to know their place in the library is worthwhile, even if you are having small numbers of teenagers engaging with your programming. Okay, so Jamie, we can stop. We can jump to the next slide, please. So these are just some things that I learned from last year, generally, about summer reading, that I tend to get really excited and plan a lot of things. And then it becomes very, or it became not overwhelming, but close to overwhelming, I think. So I want to think about ways that I have been thinking a lot about ways that I can simplify. And one of those ways is to have fewer incentives for the reading challenges. I think that I spent a lot of time thinking about prizes and when to give prizes and what the prizes were going to be, and spent a lot of money on prizes. And I didn't want that to be my focus anymore. So continuing that collaboration is another lesson, finding other people in the community to collaborate with, continue to get advice from my teen advisory board. I think that what I wanted to do was get things scheduled a little bit earlier than I did last year. And I also learned that I need to manage my own expectations about participation. And yes, we had a great number of participants last year, I think, for a town this size. But there were some programs that didn't have very many people. And that was always, I tried to not take it personally, but it's hard. But I am trying to manage my expectations for this year, recognizing that summer in Homer and probably summer everywhere in Alaska is a little tricky. It's people have a lot going on. Families work during the summer here. There are a lot of families that leave to go fishing. There are people who go on vacation, but this is the time when people can do all of the things that they don't get to do during the winter time. And so thinking about ways that you can reach people where they are, even if they're away from the library, but also recognizing that the numbers of people in the library, that it's okay if they're not always phenomenal. That's one thing that I learned. Okay, we can switch to the next slide, please. Okay, so I was thinking about goals for this summer. And again, part of that simplification, thinking about quality over quantity of programming. Programming that encourages reading and programming that makes the library welcoming and fun. I think post-pandemic and post some of the things that have happened in our community this winter, one important goal for me is really to remind people that the library is a place for everybody, and that it is a place where we want people to come and find things to read. I think having good teamwork in the library with library staff, and then continuing collaboration outside of the library. So those were sort of the goals as I was thinking about planning. I think, making goals for yourself is always a fine idea. Okay, we can move to the next one, please. But I will say that I am working on simplifying and making things less complicated, but I'm not sure that I have achieved that goal. I still have, these are just a couple of graphics that we're working on for this summer. Obviously they are fake information, but the next slide, Jamie, please. I already have about 75 programs that I have planned, or 75 events that I have planned for the summer. And those include things like story time, story walks, but also book clubs. And we're going to do some writing workshops. We're going to do some art stuff. We're going to do some music stuff. So all of those things that it already puts me at more than what I did last summer. So I'm not sure that I have learned my lesson about simplifying, but I'm trying. And I am happy. Well, two things. So one thing that I'm always trying to be mindful about is that summer reading is one part of a vibrant youth program here at the Homer Public Library. And so, I run programs for kids all year round. And I think that if you have those opportunities to run programs all year round, you can think a little bit more and be a little bit more strategic about what makes the most sense for the summer and what makes the most sense for another time during the year. And just knowing that you don't have to do everything in the summer. I think that's helpful for me to remember. So I'm offering that as something that might be helpful for you too. And I think that we will have lots of fun programming in the summer. I love the theme for this summer. I think there's lots of different ways that you can think about it. And so we can engage kids in different ways with sort of different valences of the theme. And I'm happy to talk more another time individually with people if you're curious about what kinds of things we're doing. But I hope that I've given you something of sort of my approach to the summer reading program. I think just some takeaways for you as if you are new to this and as you are thinking about how to do this programs yourself. I think collaboration is really key. Collaborate where you can. You don't have to be the expert. You don't have to do it all. And my experience is that there are community organizations and individuals who are just super excited to be asked to do something. And it does take a little bit of effort to figure out who those people are, but also you don't have to do all that at once. You know, you can find new people every year, expand sort of your network as you are getting to know things. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do everything in the summer. The summer reading doesn't have to be everything. I think that if you get feedback and input from your target audiences, so whether that's teens, whether that's parents, whether that's kids, I think that, you know, my sort of go-to is to get information from kids as much as possible, because that's really who your target audience is. But parents might have some too. Especially if you're working with teens and if you're trying to work with teens, I think asking and listening to them is really useful. And then just as we all struggle with, simplify where you can and try not to do too much. But I think those things like collaborating and using your energy to find good partners, including your audience, I think is a good way to think about simplifying at least one aspect of what you're doing. If you have questions, I'm happy to chat individually over email or by phone. I just realized that I didn't give you my contact information, but maybe Jamie has it at the end for everybody. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate your time. And now I'll turn it over to Sara.
Thank you, Cinda. Participants, please feel free to go ahead and put your questions into the Q&A. I think as panelists, we can kind of drop in our answers by typing stuff in, just as questions come up and as we go along. So just a reminder to both participants and panelists, go ahead and use that Q&A and we will check it as we can. So I'm Sara Saxton. I'm at Wasilla Public Library. And Cinda kind of touched on kind of that broader overview of creating events for your communities, and I'm going to build on that a little bit. Kelsey, who will be right after me, will talk specifically about the reading logs, and which is a major component of summer reading. And I'm going to focus on more of that event style programming. So we can go ahead and go to the next screen, Jamie. I think we have a pretty good mix of both new people and more seasoned staff. So I'm only going to spend just a little bit on this screen talking about creating a programming model that works for you. Cinda mentioned consistency, and that has been a major key to our success with events, is being consistent about when we offer them and how often. So just a few things to consider when you're deciding what's going to work best for your library. Think about your audience, who's in it, how many people are showing up, and how often. Do the same families show up 2 or 3 times a week for different events, or are they only just coming once a week? And when they show up, is it the whole family, even if it's a baby story time? That's kind of something that as I have moved along, and I've been doing my job here in Wasilla for 12 years. And before that, I spent about 5 years on the North Slope. So kind of over time observing who's coming and how often. And then what am I presenting? Do I want to do things just for certain age groups, or do I need to focus more on all ages programs? What is my talent pool for presenting that content? And for me, that kind of, is this something that I can do in-house with just myself and my colleague Erin, who presents with me, or am I bringing somebody in from outside? I said ingredients, but I guess supplies is a better word. I always, when I'm building my programs, think about what ingredients are required. I do apologize for any background noise. It sounds like there's a shouting match in the children's room outside. Not shouting, I guess it sounds concentrated, like maybe a song. But anyway, if you're hearing extra stuff, my apologies. Slow down, Sarah. Yeah, not overwhelm me with information. And then I also try to think about how my programs align with the goals of the library and the needs that are being brought forward by community members. Finally, capacity. I am a department of 2. And between the 2 of us, there absolutely feels like an extra push to give more in the summer. I always think about summer reading like a freight train. Some years I'm behind the train and I'm pushing it and I feel really good about what I have planned and what's going on. And some years I'm running in front of the train, trying to make sure that summer reading doesn't just completely decimate my energy, my time, and all of those other things. So when you're determining what you're going to offer, think about what your staff can handle. Think about the hours, not only the time required for the actual program itself, but for what it's going to take to present it. Also, the hours that you're open. I know that for my library, very, very rarely do we present anything that falls outside of our regular open hours. We did make one exception last summer to do kind of a closing event for our summer reading families, and we did a camp in at the library, not an overnight. Sarah doesn't do overnights, but we did stay until about 8 o'clock, and we had food. We had some tents set up in the library and different activities around the building for them to enjoy. Budget, of course, and just trying to stay realistic with yourself. Is it sustainable? Am I going to be so exhausted by the end of the summer that I don't get to enjoy it with my own family? Be realistic with yourself and don't overextend. So let's go ahead and go to the next screen. This is last summer's programming calendar for June. I am absolutely a visual person. And I think that was true even when I was really young. Because I looked forward to calendars like this. I'm so sorry. Somebody keeps calling me and I keep sending them to voicemail. Hopefully I'm not enraging somebody. This is our programming calendar for last June. As you can see, we do our best to do a consistent weekly event. Tuesdays, we focus on our school age crowd. Wednesdays is kind of an all family, everybody come. Thursdays, we do our story times for toddlers and preschool, although again, they show up, at either one. Families always ask me, well, do I only have to come on this certain day? And the answer is always no. We will never kick you out if we think you're the wrong age. We want you to be at our programs, and we know that you're taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with your kids, which we absolutely value. So I always tell people, try everything out and then choose what works best for you. Both for your schedule and for what you're getting out of that program. So Thursdays, we definitely focus on more of a family style story time. And we have found that we need to do 2 a day in order to accommodate the number of people that come. We do our baby lap sit on Friday mornings. Saturdays during the summer for us are very hit or miss. Everybody wants to be out doing their thing on a Saturday. by which I mean out of town camping or on a boat. So we don't do a lot of Saturday programming during the summer, just because we know that people are spending a lot of time. So you can kind of see from the calendar, some of our regular programs are on there. On the 30th of June, you can see the deadline for our recycled art contest. We collect everybody's submissions. They have all during the month of June to create some recycled art, which we display here in the library. We also have an annual pet show, which I inherited from my predecessor and tried really hard to get rid of, but there was general outcry. And so we kept it, and it actually is not nearly as intimidating as it sounds. Children sign up to bring their animal to the library. This is an outdoor program. And so we cap it at 30. I have never had a full complement of 30 children and animals. Best guests at the pet show, we had some fabulous goldfish a few years ago that their owner was training to kick a soccer ball. We've had a hedgehog. My own family, we brought our bearded dragon last summer, and she was much loved. So let's go ahead and go to the next screen. For our weekly programs, again, there's just kind of a brief overview of what those days look like. Art adventures for our school age group. This program runs awesome during the summer, and it has grown over the last few years. We were averaging between 30 and 40 kids last summer, which is up from, the half a dozen that I was seeing 2019, 2020. Occasionally we'll have a guest come in, but really we try to focus on like a quick read aloud and then something hands-on that we can do after that. Our all ages event is absolutely large format. My largest event last summer was a visit from a porcupine from the Alaska Zoo, which drew more than 300 attendees. And that also was an outdoor event. I was the only person working that event. And the size of the crowd is due to the fact that this is the one event that I put on social media last year. We tend not to advertise using social media just because it becomes unsustainable for us. The crowds are much too large. But Family Wednesdays generally are focused on all ages, and then our storytime programs towards the end of the week. So let's go to the next slide. And I kind of just took a few minutes to think about what I'm planning to do this year. And most of my ideas can be found in the resource guide, which was shared from iRead. We just had a power bump, so hopefully I'm still with you. Just let me know. So I did note the page numbers there for you if you're searching your manuals, which can be intimidating. There's a lot of stuff in there, but I usually take the time every year to kind of browse through there and get some good ideas to supplement what we're already doing. For us, passive programming has become really important. The demand for programs and services has increased exponentially for us. And so the more that we can put out for passive participation, the better off it is. Because again, we're just two people providing services to thousands over the course of the year. So some of the ideas that I really liked were just making some printed pages of text from a book available for people to create their own blackout poetry. With the Find Your Voice theme, we thought that lent itself really well to like a weekly favorites poll. So kind of an either or where you can put a pom-pom into one jar or the other to determine, to create, basically find out what do we like better, salmon or halibut. I stole that directly from Kenai Public Library, or maybe it was Soldotna. I think it was Soldotna when I visited last summer. They had a great poll at the front desk that they had going all the time. A postcard station to send messages to people in the community, whether it's hospital staff or people serving overseas, our police department, messages of kindness and encouragement to share with people around the community. And then also a book review station for our older kiddos. The next slide. By far our most successful passive program ever has been our Look and Find. I started this in 2021 as kind of an extra thing that we did during summer reading because the theme was colors and it worked out so great. And I just took pictures from around the building and let the kids walk through and find them. This is now something that we swap out every month. Our current Look and Find is different breeds of dogs. We do just keep it in the children's room now. And I had one parent let me know that her child calls the library the scavenger hunt castle, and she looks forward to doing the Look and Find every time they come in. And so monthly, we are averaging between 4 and 450 as far as the number of people that just do the Look and Find. Super popular, very easy to create, and I'm happy to share the resources we use for that. Next slide. Some other favorite ideas for 2023 so far. For specific events or programs, I've got a list there. I love the idea of creating a library newspaper, and I think that would lend itself well to our school age art adventures group, where we work on creating the content and then producing a newspaper. And I think that's something we could probably do over the course of 4 weeks or so. A cosplay event. We have a local comic store that I think would probably really love to partner with us on that. I am a huge fan of Rock Band, the game. I don't know if anybody plays it anymore, but I sure loved it. We have yoga studios that have come in and done yoga sessions for us previously, and that's something that we will use again. Collage that people can participate on. The Let's Stick Together posters are extremely popular at our library, where people can sit down and finish a sticker collage together. And so kind of helping that evolve into more of a mixed media opportunity, I think is great. I did put in a list of the local presenters that we use most regularly. A couple summers ago, we had one of our construction companies just park, I think, 10 different pieces of heavy machinery in the end of our parking lot. And we invited the snow cone truck and the kettle corn people and gave our participants tickets to get a free stop at both of those food vendors. And then they just got to walk through and climb on all the equipment. This is a hard one during the summer just because those machines are working nonstop through the summer. But hopefully we're hoping to bring it back again, even if at the end of the summer, once they've done more of their work. We can go to the next slide. I feel like I'm trying to hurry a little bit so that we can get to our other presenters. But just a quick note on prizes. Our friends at the library love seeing those t-shirts around the community, and so they have encouraged us to continue purchasing t-shirts. When we give one prize, when our readers complete 10 hours of reading. This is universal across ages. This is everybody gets one prize after 10 hours of reading. It could be a t-shirt. It could be a coupon for a local vendor. McDonald's, Pizza Hut actually reached out to us this year, and they want to do, instead of having their own reading program, they want to work with us on ours, which is really exciting. We also have a treasure chest with small toys because some kids are really not excited about t-shirts. Boy, are they excited about Play-Doh. So we're going to focus on craft supplies in the treasure chest this year. And then something new that we wanted to do this year was to create a unique vinyl sticker that people can put on their water bottles or computers or whatever else that says they completed summer reading 2023 at Wasilla Public Library. This is a mock-up that we're kind of working with. There aren't actually any raccoons in Alaska, which breaks my heart because I think they're just so adorable and thieving. So this probably isn't what we're going to go with. We'll probably create some unique art that is all our own to give to our patrons. And we're also planning to just make a big order of vinyl stickers so that our adults and teens can choose those things as their prizes as well. And that is all I have. I think we are ready now for Kelsey at APL talking about reading logs. And again, please put your questions in the Q&A and I will do my best to chime in on some
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. I know that we are almost out of time. I'm good to stay late. I hear MJ is good to stay late. So if you do need to leave, no worries. We will not take it personally. But I was given permission to take my time and go slowly instead of rushing quickly. And I talk fast anyway. So this is probably best for everybody then. So I am a youth services librarian here at LUSAC with APL. And I'm just going to talk to you a little about going beyond the theme, because here at Anchorage Public Library, we like the theme in theory, and then when it comes to actually putting in practice, we are very loosey-goosey with it. We use it kind of as a starting board, a starting point, and then we just kind of go with it. We kind of just do our own thing. So what you're seeing on the screen is just a copy of the reading log from last year. This probably looks familiar. I've been making these for the past couple of years now. So we do send out a kind of blank one to give to like statewide. So look for that in the coming weeks. But this is what ours looked like last year. So you can see it just requires 10 hours of reading. It's very simple. And then there's a bunch of ideas for activities that kids can do on the back. You'll notice those familiar components like the clip art from the iRead program. And that's about it. I don't think anywhere on this we say the words like go like read beyond the beaten path or anything. Like we know, but we realize that, you know, the families that we interact with, they aren't invested in the theme. They don't need it to kind of have that cohesive planning the same way that we might look to it. So we're like, why are we like pigeonholing ourselves into this box? So instead, we went rogue. But so yes, our reading log, as you can see, there are activities on the back because we do want kids reading, of course, but we also, what I like to tell kids when we sign them up is we just want you to be a person engaging in the world around you and kind of just like, yeah, being a full-fledged member of society. So we want you trying new places in town. We want you exploring and going to new playgrounds, going on different paths, going on different hiking trails, go to different museums or other nonprofits around town, just like really just broaden your horizons that way. And some of those we can easily dovetail. Like I said, we start with the starting board of the theme. So a lot of the activities that we had last year did involve going outside and going beyond the beaten path, but then some others don't, because again, we're trying to just make this common denominator. We want what will get kids involved without making it seem like homework, without making it seem like too much for them. And then when it comes time for kids to turn them in, we do offer prizes. We just have the one finishing prize now. Last summer, actually, I believe we had a pot of money from COVID, so we were able to give kids a starting book as well, because the goal of this, right, is just get books into kids' hands. Like that's what we wanted. So we're like, why don't we just, you get this prize for signing up. I don't know if we have the capacity to do that this year or not, but it was really well received. So if you can do that, like again, books in the hands of children, get them reading over the summer, right? But we also have given out playing cards. We give out entry to grand prize drawings where it's, you know, gift cards to local organizations like local toy stores or the Alaska Zoo, I think had tickets. At one point we were giving like raffling off tickets to the Alaska Railroad. So like, you know, all of these big things that kids know about that they might not get to experience otherwise. And it's just, you know, we don't have the capacity. We have such huge numbers, right, that we can't give every kid a t-shirt as much as we would love to. So like, this is kind of our way of like, there's something for you. You have a chance to win more, but honestly, the book is the glory. The playing cards are the glory. We also, I will talk about it a little bit more on the next slide, but we also, once kids hit that like overall goal, we do offer the Readers to the Rescue program, which keeps them involved and keeping the like logging their minutes. And that's just, you know, you always have those kids that finish the log in like the first week or two, right? And you're like, what else do we do? So we give them the chance to keep counting their minutes, to keep feeling like they're doing something and engaging with the community. And then we have it where if the whole community can read like 150,000 minutes past the just base log, then the Friends of the Library donates $1,000 in school supplies to kids. So, you know, it's starting their philanthropy early, right? Like it's just like we've gotten great response to this of kids just wanting to help out other kids in the community, and it's a way for them to see tangible results of their participation. So it's great. Jamie, next slide, please. Thank you. So that was the quick and dirty on reading logs, but then, you know, the other part of going down the theme is programming, and where do you even start if you're not going with the like preconceived notions of, or like the packet of here are some ideas to do. So we have found success in just kind of this hybrid method where we outsource some performers and events, of course, just like Sarah, we've had the Alaska Zoo, we had Magic by Robbie, and those were huge things, right? And it's great because then it takes a load off us to create these programs. We also create others in-house because you know, we can't find other presenters, or we don't have the budget, or it's hard to schedule, or whatever it is. So those we kind of made with a few things in consideration. So, you know, we have to figure out how many people do we expect in attendance? Is this going to be a hugely attended? Well, like, you know, here we range from about 2 to like 200 as like averages. So we wanted to figure out things that were easily scalable. So, you know, my favorite example is the art program, where we had just like 4 or 5 different crafting opportunities for kids. They could pop around, they could drop in, do whichever ones they wanted. But also at the end, if, you know, I think we had like 95 people here at LUSAC, but at one branch we only had 2. So we didn't want them to have all of these craft supplies that were specific to this one program left behind, like one-time use things. So instead we kind of curated this program based on things that could be broken down and used for other crafts. So a lot of just like crayons, paper, scissors, glue, like that kind of thing. But in creative ways, like, yeah, rock painting was one of the crafts and people loved it. And it's like, you guys can do this at home very easily. But because it was the library craft and we had all the supplies, it was just, you know, it worked out really well. People loved it. We were finding rocks hidden all over the library and all over the grounds for like weeks after that. And it just also inspires them to kind of relate to their community a bit more, because then they can make this rock here at the library and then they go somewhere else and they leave it there. And then they go back and they check on it, or they find another one. They're like, hey, this reminds me of the library program. So, you know, we're just kind of insidious that way. And just getting them tied into what the library does and enjoying it. So yes, we also had huge hits with like the plant and play that we did. Outdoor recess was one that we've done in the past that is very simple. Just have a bunch of games, have a bunch of balls for kids to play with outside, but like it's a little more regulated or something. So like there's, you know, we're not just like, here, go wander in the woods, bye, but like there's still groups of kids to play with. There's still an overarching like tie into the library with that. And it's really nice to build those bridges between, hey, the library is more than just books. It's fun too. And once we get you on our lawn, we can get you inside. We can get those books in your hand. It's great. We've also, especially with COVID, we kind of had to adapt to drop-in versus synchronous versus asynchronous programming. You know, when you think of library programming, you think of story time. Like that's the go-to for kids, right? It starts at this time, you're here together, you do this all together, which is great for younger kids. In school age for the summer, we were kind of struggling with that a bit more. So here at APL, we do offer our standard, like consistent once a week school age program, which is the scheduled events you're seeing on the screen right now. And that just, you know, it's geared towards school age students. It's meant to be a little bit more hands-on like that, but it's also kind of drop-in time during that time, which is great. But we also, of course, still offer our slate of like story times and all of our regular programming, just not necessarily branded under the Summer Discovery umbrella. But we've also had really, really good luck, and this came out of COVID, with asynchronous programming. So that's what that upper right-hand corner is. You'll see, if you know Elizabeth Nicolai, the youth services coordinator here, those are her children. They're holding the nature bingo card, because literally we would just put together these packets that people could pick up and take with them. And we called them Program to Go. And so what that one was, it was a nature bingo sheet. And I think there was probably like a little nature guide in there that we got from Wildlife and Game or Fish and Game. And it was library related, but it still got them going out and about on their own time and engaging in the world around them that way. And people loved these. Like one of my favorite stories about it is just a woman comes running in right when we first got them. And she's like, oh my gosh, like I told my husband I had to get this. And he was like, why? It's just gonna be like 3 sheets of paper and some crayons. And we're like, well, actually, this one has glue sticks in it too. Thank you. But you know, that it was that level of excitement of like, I have like, they're offering something to do with the kids that I don't have to plan, that, you know, we don't have to run as library staffing in the building. It's just, we make them, they take them, and then they do it on their own time. So that's great if you do have staffing concerns, if you have a smaller building, if you are burning yourself out on trying to plan all this stuff on your own. So, you know, consider that. Consider the different types of programming. Not everything has to be, here we all are sitting down together at one time. And then a common refrain from, you know, all the other panelists as well, mix things up, go outside. We are lucky to have kind of like a little built-in stage here at LUSAC on our lawn. So it's right outside the library doors. It's right by the fountain. And on beautiful summer days, we are out there doing a story time. The picture in the lower right is actually Miss Linda Klein doing it. We miss her, but she's living her best life. But yeah, we like the numbers for that were great. There was also I think the summer before, also as a response to COVID, we actually partnered with Parks and Rec, and we were doing story time at different parks around town. So it doesn't just have to be in the library space, right? It doesn't just have to be, we are right outside the library, this is it. Like, you can take your programming, if you have the time and the energy, you can go elsewhere in the community. You can take your story times elsewhere and just kind of bring them to life that way as well. So again, all of this could tangentially be related to the theme. You'll notice that there's a lot of overlap between what we've done and what Sarah's doing over in Wasilla. You don't have to go with the theme. Like, it's great for both ways. Like, it works for the theme, but it works without it. And really, just as long as you're receptive to your community, you're offering things for all ages. And if you're excited about it, your patrons will be excited about it as well. One more slide, please, Jamie, and thank you. And then there's just a few other just like tie-ins. And again, this kind of harkens back to what Sarah was talking about. Or actually, let me start with that. So the Readers to the Rescue, like I was saying, is it keeps kids involved and engaged. It keeps them reading without having to like, here's your physical prize. Like, we have so many kids come and turn in like 10 of our Readers to the Rescue sheets at once of just like, I've been reading 10 chapter books, so here you go. And then they can come back later and see, like, we keep a wall marker on the shelf or on the wall where we can, you know, one of those like thermometers where it like goes up and up and up so that they can see that they are reaching their goal. And we get great feedback with those. Kids love that. Ask for like, can I get 5 of those at once? Because I'm reading a lot. So again, keeps them engaged, keeps them reading, keeps them tied into the library. We also offer scavenger hunts. So similar to Sarah's, but not quite, although I love yours and we might have to crib some of that. We offer, this one is actually 2-sided. The side that you're seeing right there is what we call our pre-reader scavenger hunt. So we see like those 3 pictures at the bottom, the airplane, the apple, the ant. We tape up those exact clip art pictures all like around the youth services area of the library, and kids just have to go through and find them. And then we ask them to look for a capital A and a lowercase a, like in signs, on books, just like we call it finding them in the wild here. And once they do, they just get a small prize. We're on the 2nd loop of the alphabet now, and kids, we didn't change it all from last year, so we do it every 2 weeks. So once you get your 26 set up, you can just cycle through again. And no kid has figured out that these are the exact same clues from last time. On the back of that sheet, not pictured, is what we call is our reader scavenger hunt. So it's geared towards school age kids. And that one is a little bit more intense, but it gets them learning the different pieces of the library. So they'll have like a little clue that like talks about a certain book, and sometimes they're able to clock it immediately, but most of the time we bold the code words, like certain words that they use then to find that book in the catalog. They find where that book would be, like write down the call number, find that book on the shelf, and then there's a fake book there with a code word in it. And they do that 3 times, and once they have all 3 code words, then they get the prize that way. And we've had a bunch of adults just comment on that and say like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for this. You have got my child exploring the library. Like, we didn't know this section existed. I'm like, that's the point. Like, it's fun, it's engaging, it's a game, but it's also sneaky education learning. And it's great year round. Again, like we started this back, I think February of last year or so, and we thought maybe we'll trail off because it was, you know, at a post-COVID time when we weren't offering as many programs. And then people just kept doing it. We've had to scale up the prizes as well too. So like this is around for the foreseeable future now. And it's something that kids know that exists in the library. They can do on their own terms. And it's constantly changing. So there's always something for them to do. And then we also just invite our patrons to talk to us in our interactive wall display right there. So this particular question was from February, and it just asks a simple question that gets them thinking and engaged. And this particular one was, what do you love most about the library? And then we had a bunch of die cut hearts, and they wrote whatever they wanted, drew some pictures, wrote their names, and stapled it to the wall. As you can see, we had like 200 something responses for it. So like people love this stuff. Right now it's a rainbow with like some grass, like a little cauldron. And then it says like, what would you like to find at the pot of at the end of the rainbow? And so many, just a wide variety of answers. Like kids just love giving their opinions, but also it gives them a little sense of ownership of the space as well. So I like offering all of these interactive things that are maybe like a little bit more passive than just like, you come here, you do this with us. It gives them, like I said, that ownership of, this is my space and I know what to expect, because when I come in, the scavenger hunt will be here. And then there's something new for me to put my thoughts on the wall and just feel invested and engaged. So I really love that. And then just the last thing I wanted to mention was that bullet point on the left that I bolded. It's from my coworker, Samantha. I was like, what else should I include in this presentation? She goes, oh, remember to maintain the chill. And what that means is, what we kind of, defined it as here is, summer does not last forever, right? It is chaos, it is bonkers, it is nonstop, go, 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 go. You wanna do all this, you wanna do this, but it will end. You have 2 months. Do what you can. Don't burn yourself out for this, because that's the nature of the year, is it's cyclical. It'll come back again, right? Like, so you don't burn yourself out shooting for the moon, doing every single thing that you can, because kids don't need that. They're happy with 3 sheets of paper and some crayons, right? Like, they are happy with whatever you're able to give them. And yes, of course, we want to be the end all be all. We want to give them everything and make this the coolest summer ever. But like, kids are already overloaded these days. They are overscheduled and overstimulated and over everything. Like, so, take a breath, breathe, because it's just summer reading. Like, I know it's very hard for me to say because it's summer. That's what we do in youth services, but it's just summer. It's just summer reading. And like we've talked about, we're battling the weather. We're battling the trips out of town. We're battling the camping and the boat trips, right? So, there'll be some days where everything is great and yeah, it's doing exactly what you want. And there are some days where you're like, oh, 2 people came and like, what is the point of this? Find that balance. Remember the chill, maintain the chill, because it's not life or death. We're doing our best. We're offering these things. We want people to use the library, but again, it's not worth burning yourself out for, especially when it is 2 months, right? 2 months of high intensity, but then I hope you can breathe again. So I will be sharing, MJ asked me to share the scavenger hunt page, so I will be doing that. Because yeah, that like reader scavenger hunt is amazing and I love it. And I will share, again, look for that kind of blank summer reading log to come out in the next month or so. I will be actually on vacation for the 2 weeks starting on Saturday. But hopefully I can get it either ready to go before then or send it out right as soon as I get back. So you don't have to start from scratch with the reading log. You don't have to worry too hard about that. I will help you with that. And if you need me for any other like reading log purposes, if you want to talk about the programming that we do here at APL, because again, I go fast and I talk really fast, just hit me up. I'll drop my email in the chat. I think Jamie might be sharing at the end too, but like, we're all in this together, right? We've got your back. You're not alone. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We are here to help give you the pieces that we've learned over the years of doing this. And now, thanks for that. Thanks for listening to me go. I'm going to hand it off to MJ and Juno. Oh, MJ, I think you're muted.
You are correct. My lips are moving and now there's sound. Thank you, Kelsey and Sara and Cinda and Geri, for all that you've shared. This is so inspiring and invigorating and good reminders. So I'm MJ Grande, Youth Services Librarian, and I have book ideas. So if you want to go ahead and advance this slide, Jamie. I just kind of went through, these books are collected from materials that are mostly new. Jamie will be sending or dropping the bibliography that are the books per page into the chat. So, and I put the ISBN on those too, so you can use it as an acquisitions tool. But these are my best guesses of some of the things that might help support let your voice or find your voice. I love this theme this year. I think iRead is doing really good materials since we've moved over to them. So thank you very much. So very briefly, I'm just going to do real quick talking about these books so you have a vague idea. Melvin the Mouth is the cartoon story of the person who was the voice of Bugs Bunny and all of those characters. He was not liked by his teachers. He was a total disruption in many areas of his life, and he found his way with his mouth. Speak Up. Background, one of the things that's kind of one of my requirements of supporting books is a book that shows and doesn't tell. We've got a lot of lecturing, we've got a lot of pedantic sorts of voices in the worlds of our children. I like the children to see and explore on their own and find the messages that are not hammered at them. Speak Up's got a little bit of hammering, but it also supports children in speaking up. The Rabbit Listened. I hope every single person knows this story and shares it widely. A child's creation is destroyed, and all of these creatures come and say how it'll help. And the rabbit listened. As you share this story, the children all go, oh, I do that, or even the grownups in the room. And to learn that really so often what we need is just to be listened to. Andrew the Great, Kaiju, a generally negative creature, or creature of disruptive or destructive power, and this one isn't. Holler Loudly is a kind of a folk tale of what happens when you can holler louder than the wind. I Talk Like a River is a story of a child's voice in stuttering. Quite brilliant. It helps you hear differently, a child who's working to get their words released safely from their mouth. Ask Me is a conversation between a child and an adult, where the child's saying, ask me, and the adult asks the child what they've been asked, and the child's voice again is listened to. My Mouth is a Volcano is written by our Julia Cook. If you like the Gruffalo, you kind of know her patterns of works, and this is also about being a loud person and letting there be room with that. Slide, Jamie. Animal voices, and I apologize to everybody. As I was putting these together and then looked, I went, oh my gosh, I have a tendency here, even though we're in Alaska, many of the books about animal voices are not of animals that are here. So still working on that. We do have 10 rowdy ravens, and I hope that the sounds these ravens make are not disrespectful to the Tlingit and Haida and other peoples of Alaska who have other relationships with ravens. The Raven Squawk Orca Squeak by the Roy Henry Vickers and Robert Budd is part of a series of board books that are quite wonderful. They have tactile experience with the pages and should definitely be explored. Barnyard Dance, great get up and move. Telephone is our Mac Barnett, funny man, with the game of telephone, but played by birds. And of course, Double Puck, an excellent way to play with your own words. Please forward the slides, Jamie. What does a face say? We like doing collage, and so there's Hanak Piven, who does Let's Make Faces, or My Best Friend is Sharp as a Pencil, where the elements added together represent the character of the person being represented. I had to share the picture on the cover of Ask, one of the cricket magazines, just because it fit in so well. You can find faces and expressions so many places. The Let's Draw People is a combination of, I think, 8 or 10 different artists and how they go about drawing, with the instructions of how do you draw these different characters shape by shape and add it up. And then the self-portrait on page 147, they say to do kind of an just a simple self-portrait and then laminate, and then you can add eyebrows and mouth and change them around to demonstrate the emotions of at any particular point in time. The next slide, please. Musical voices. These are so many of a few options available. My Voice is a Trumpet, that projection of sound. Poco and the Drum by Matthew Forsyth. I hope you get this book. Expression in so many ways. At the Youth Services Roundtable, somebody talked about all the things. I apologize right now, I can't remember which library, where they've built spaceships and boats and clocks and on. So I tucked in here the cardboard piano. It is one of the few books I've selected that is no longer as widely available, but you might already have it in your collection. The first music is about rhythms from Africa, and Hana Hashimoto, sixth violin, is about being a child and learning to make music when it doesn't sound quite so beautiful. But the child holds in their mind when it does sound so beautiful. Next page, please. Emotions. There have been so many changes and so much disruption in our lives and in the lives of the children and families around us. Our gentle holding and acknowledging the emotions of the people we engage with, whether they're the children or the grown-ups that come with them, is a critical element of the work we do. So here's just a very few books. Love from the Crayons, where emotions and love comes in all colors. When We Are Kind, if you were fortunate enough to be in in Fairbanks and hear Monique Grace Smith speak, you will know the brilliance of her words and of her being. This book is also available in Navajo, in French, many languages. The series that are being produced are all excellent. Rosa's Song is an immigrant story. Another voice, a child who has to move, and so many elements of starting life anew and unscheduled change. Some children's lives change very quickly without letting people know that the changes are coming and what that means on both sides. Me and the Boss is a child who's getting watched by the big sister who's the boss, and gets tagged along and has to go to some of the activities the older child's doing. And it's a story of mending and healing. Delightful. More The Rabbit Listened, because again, everybody needs this book. If you participate in the Dolly Parton Imagination Library System, this book gets given relatively frequently. I hope everybody has it. And Nico Draws a Feeling. These are not representational experiences that Nico draws. And finding somebody as these expressions are randomly all colors and shapes, but a lot of what some people would characterize as scribble, giving validity to the emotional content and the message behind those expressions. And next page. Poetic Voices. Hey, everybody, April's coming up, National Poetry Month. I love poems. So these are, we are going to be creating poet trees at each of our 3 facilities. Red Sings from Treetops, A Little Miss Lou, which is a Jamaican poet who spoke in her own patois and who gave credibility to and legitimacy to those other ways of speaking, and not only correct structural English. I Would Teach You to Fly, a lyrical representation by local author Sarah Asper-Smith and her partner Mitchell Watley, also part of a series of books of representing a lot of Alaska creatures in their relationships with growing. And then Yuji Morales with Dreamers, again, a migrant story or immigrant story of having a voice in one language and learning another language and letting the voice be free there also, maybe freer than before. Next slide. We are in Southeast Alaska. See, Alaska Heritage Institute has elements of Baby Raven Reads grant. They have produced, I think they're 21 or more books now. There's a blank space there that's supposed to contain, whoops, I didn't carry it with me, Celebration by Lily Hope. And but also, as you can see, the books were originally produced in English and now have been produced. There's languages in Habkil, which Schmalgaks, as well as Tlingit, the 3 languages of our Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian peoples of Southeast Alaska. I will drop into the chat also the link to the Alaska Heritage Institute website with their educational resources. Worth looking at. Each of these books comes with supplemental activities and suggestions for engaging with the language. And I highly recommend that you look at your own local Indigenous peoples and corporations or nonprofit institutions associated with your cultural areas and see what they have available. There's been such a rich development and support for bringing back the languages. So see what you've got locally. But these are available through Sealaska Heritage. Next slide. American Sign Language. I've got this Sign Language and Family by, I don't know, it's in the website, comes with a whole series of all sorts of the words that a child would use throughout their day. I apologize. This is really, my presentation is very much focused on those early literacies and kind of that youngest group. This After School Superstars series by Claudia Mills is a chapter book, Sign Language Star. We've got 101 sign language for American Sign Language for kids, and then the DVD A to Z ABC stories with ASL. This question of could I include elements of ASL in my presentation brought to my awareness how limited are the resources in our local community for supporting children who do not have verbal language or are expressing in other ways. Next slide, please. I did, however, find the instructions for the director's hand signals in American Sign Language to support the Easy Readers Theater. So if you, these would be a really good foundation as you're working with the kids in developing Easy Readers Theater. We've got Yo Yes and Good Night, Good Night. And then I hope you all know that the Elephant and Piggy books, you can have an unlimited number of Piggies and Geralds. And these are so fun. So happy Pig Day. Whose voice do you have? Elephants Cannot Dance. Of course, your body expression. And Listen to My Trumpet. Whose voice are we really making here? Next slide. Playing with Chalk. We've got Bill Thompson and his chalk stories. The manifestation of the man who does these sidewalk chalk where they're three-dimensional viewings, if you're from the right angle, just amazing to look at it, what can be done. And then, of course, have a chalk drawing. These are pictures from Juneau Once in a While has a sunny day over the summer. And so this was around the 4th of July, and we had sidewalk chalk contests. The expressions were great fun. And another one. Slide, please. Written communications, of course. Dear Earth, dear Mr. Blueberry, and it came in the mail. Some of the very few of the many stories that support written communications, whether you're doing a postcard, sending off. But yeah, find your voice in the written form is definitely something to be supported this summer. And one more, I think, or is that the end? Oh, there's all of our contacts. So thank you, everybody who stayed for your attention. And thank you, Jamie, for coordinating all of this. Look forward to listening again. I know there was so much information, and I look forward to catching it again.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. And a special thank you to all of our presenters for sharing their voices today and sharing their experiences. Hopefully everyone will leave with learning something today. I know I definitely learned that we need more time for these fabulous presenters. I'm hoping to do like a youth services chat, like maybe a monthly chat where everyone can get together and share their ideas. The recording for this will definitely be shared soon. So look for that either on the State Library website for the early literacy webpage. It'll probably be there, and the YouTube, the Alaska State Library YouTube page. When you finish here, you'll get a little link for a survey. Please fill out the survey so that we can see how you liked today's program, and then also plan for future programming. So yeah, you will also get an email, a follow-up email with that link to the survey. So yes, again, thank you everyone for being here today, and I'm going to stop the recording.